Hey guys, I thought I would show you a little bit of what I'm doing here. This is basically I'm finishing the finish on this. So I thought I'd show you how to make this look messy and then how easily it cleans up. I've already gone over the roughest spots on this with some 320 grit sandpaper. I'm going to go over it again because there's a few low spots I want to even out on this. So at this point, one of the reasons you put so many coats on here is in case you want to make it a nice slick mirror finish, is because you're going to take a lot of it back off again. I had gotten this all polished up to a point I thought I liked. It still had some orange peeling on it, but that would it would have probably been that way from the factory anyway. They would not have spent as much time as I am sanding down the finish and making it look piano smooth. Not on a lower end radio like this. On the 16 I have, they would have and did actually, and eventually I'll be getting around to doing that one too. But anyway, so I thought at this point also, because you put so many layers on the finish here, at first it isn't really important that you go with the grain. You can go in any direction you want to, because there's so much space between you and the wood surface. But at this point, I'm just going to hit this again, but I am going to go with the grain, and I wanted you to see how messed up it's going to look when you're first doing it, and then you'll see afterwards when I finally get finished how good it looks. So basically at this point I'm going to go with the grain here. As you can see, it's starting to look really scary. And what I'm trying to do is, the sandpaper is going to put some scratches in here. So right now I want to go with the grain so that I minimize the way they look when I switch up to a finer grit sandpaper. As you can see from the lacquer, it turns pretty white. In fact, it almost looks like a sanding sealer. The low spot I'm trying to get at is right up in here. It's one of those spots where I didn't use my brain when I was spraying, and a bug landed on it, and I tried to pick it off. So the other thing is there's some scratches here in the middle that actually are in the wood, and I guess I could have done something to try to get those out. But again, this is an old radio, and we don't want to get rid of all of its character from its long life. Plus, this radio was kind of brought back from the brink, as it was outside originally, and had been it had damage, water and sunlight and element damage. The wood looked kind of like a deck does after a couple of years. So I'm going to go ahead here and just get this done. Like I said, I'm just going with the grain on this just to get out some of the finer scratches and get rid of a little more of the orange peel. When I finally get down to the polishing part of this, you will see that as scary as this looks right now, you'll never know I did this to it. So I'm going to pause this for now and finish this up, since you probably don't want to really see me keep doing this and battling on. Just being really careful up by the Philco decal, because I really don't know how far down I went on this while sanding. Anyway, so I'm going to pause for now, and I will be right back. Alright, so what I did was wipe down the cabinet with some mineral spirits and let that evaporate for just a few minutes. And I'm going to hit this now with number 3 synthetic steel wool. I already started. See if I get the remaining vertical scratches that from me doing the kind of figure eight sanding I was doing earlier. So I'm going to go ahead here, just start wiping. It was working, by the way, because I got them off on this side. Now there's a little residual mineral spirits in here, which is actually causing the finish here to gum up and pill up a little bit. That's sort of an indicator that I probably should have waited before I started doing this. One rule of thumb, when you're wondering how long to let a finish cure before you get to the final stages, is the nose. So if you put your nose down to the finish and take a sniff, and if you still smell the solvent, then it's still evaporating and you should wait. Typically, especially with as many layers as I put on here, and being here in Texas, and of course it decided to be humid this week up here in Dallas, probably at least a week, I would say. Obviously I haven't done that because I started this was on Friday I did this, and it's now Wednesday, but I seem to be okay. When I first started polishing this up the other night, I noticed when I use the mineral spirits to get off the dust and grit between sanding, it actually softened up one of the thicker portions that I actually sanded off today. So I decided it was time to put that away for a day and let it finish up. So I'm going to just keep going over this a bit, back and forth, and I'll rinse it down again. Another thing is, it is important between, especially if you're either switching sandpaper or switching to a different grit size, is to go ahead and wipe it down. I use mineral spirits. You can also use soapy water as well. It's probably a better lubricant to use as well if you're going to do any wet sanding than the mineral spirits, unless the finish has been sitting for a while. So again, I'm just going to keep polishing up here until I make sure all the larger scratches are out, and this is going to of course leave its own set of scratches, as you can see, but they're a lot finer than they were a minute ago. So I'll keep this up, I'll rinse it down again, and I will be back. Alright, so we're going to hit this now with the 4-0 pad. You still see a little white residue here. This will be gone when I hit it with the polishing powder, or polishing liquid. So I'm just going to go ahead here and keep going. It's actually getting very smooth, just so you know. This is going to actually pretty much be a piano finish when I'm done. It's so smooth to the touch. So I'm going to keep going here with the grain. The biggest scratches are gone, as I had mentioned. So now I'm just going to be getting these small ones that are left over. And even the polish will get rid of some of these. So I'm going to keep going a little bit more. And, you know, I don't actually like these 4-0 style polishing pads. I don't know if there's something wrong with them. This doesn't feel right. As much as I hate to do this, I'm going to go grab some real steel wool. And when I do that, you're going to see actually why I hate steel wool. It's such a mess. But let me go ahead and pause this. I'll be right back. Alright, got the gloves on and everything. Now it's just a matter of going over here and getting out these these perpendicular scratches. I don't know if you can see that building up yet, but these are the little hairs that come off of, so can you see that? Yeah, you can. So these are the little bits that come off. This is exactly why you never want to get real steel wool anywhere near a chassis when it's got components in it. All this stuff, as you can see it collecting up here, causes serious mayhem with the electrics. So anyhow, I'm going to keep going on here. And the next item after this will be hitting it with the polishing compound. By the way, I'm not, and I should be, but you want to wear a mask when you do this. You saw that white stuff. I'm probably going to be hacking all night long. Not to mention it's really not good for your lungs. So I'm going to just keep polishing this up. And I will be back in a few, and we'll hit this with the Meguiar's, and I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes. But this is getting nice and smooth. So this is going to look really nice. And I need to vacuum after this for sure. Alright, so I will be back. Alright, well, as you can see, this is what it looks like after the 4.0 steel wool has been used. And it's pretty shiny. So now what I'm going to do is, I actually use Scratch X by Meguiar's 2.0 as the final polishing before I do waxing. If you actually wanted to bring this to a mirror shine, you could even use, you could either go straight, you could use this and then go to say Meguiar's mirror shine, which is the next level up after this. But that's a bit further than I'm going to take this one. Because after I polish this up with this, I'm going to go ahead and do some Johnson's paste wax. So I'll just do a little section here so you can see. How to get the rest of the scratches out. Now the whole point of polishing, when you're using finishing, when you're finishing the finish, as they say, what you're doing is you're basically just scratching it up and making the scratches finer and finer and finer until they're so small that you can't see them with the naked eye. And that also helps them reflect light and look really nice, etc. So you do this just a little section at a time. And again, since these are such small scratches, it's not imperative to brush with the grain. Because when this is done, you really just won't see any scratches at all. And what you do see, if they're very minute, they will be taken care of by the, my VCR went off. So I just let that, you want to, I'm going to use t-shirt material and just wipe it off after I polish it here. Let's see how that looks. Still has some minute scratches, so I'll just hit that section again. You couldn't find my, usually I would use a polish applicator, not just a 50-cent sponge, but I don't seem to be able to find my applicator. So this is just a matter of using a little bit of elbow grease. And this is just like you were taking the scratch out of your car bumper. Still have more scratches than I want. But it's getting there. A little bit more. Again, just a little bit of elbow grease, a little bit of patience. Do what I do, which is normally watch TV. But just remember to turn the TV off and so it doesn't interrupt your video making. Let's see how this goes. So now I'm definitely going with the grain, because if it's going to give me any more scratches, which visible scratches, I'd rather have them be with the grain. Yes, it's just a matter of just messing with it until you get what you want. And again, you're not going to get necessarily all the scratches out. I can see here that there's some scratches I should have been a little bit better at with the 4.0. They may come out, but again, as I mentioned, well, I've already taken this far beyond what I should have, but maybe one day I'll learn that if my name is associated with something, I don't want that same sentence to contain the word half-assed, so I'm just going to keep working on it, but I'm giving you the idea. You saw what this would look like when I had the 320 on there. Some of you may have even gasped, but I promise there's no camera trickery. I did not spray it in the meantime with lacquer or anything. Alright, so let's see. Well, you know what? That's doing better. But again, like I said, even though if there's still some scratches left over, which there will be, some minute ones, the wax will cover that up. And a good thing about wax is it does fill in the scratches. Now, if you really didn't want any scratches whatsoever, you could put a scratch filler in. Guess who makes a good scratch filler? Ding ding, yep, that would be right, Mohawk. Alright, so I'm just gonna get that polished up just enough. There's still some scratches in it, I'll work on it. I don't know if I'm gonna put wax on it tonight, because I've been working on this for a couple of hours now. And I've been hearing my phone buzz, and my friends get all panicky, or I should say bitchy. Ooh, I hope none of them are watching this. If I don't respond to my messages straight away. So, alright, that looks pretty good. There's still some scratches in it, like I said, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I can zoom in on that finish there. Ooh. See if you can see. Oh, come on. Well, hopefully you can see how nice that looks. And my camera, this is what I get for spending such a small amount of money on my camera. There we go. So you can see that is a far cry from what it looked like just an hour and a half ago. Let's see if I can get a good... you can't really tell. Let's see. You can see. See how well, you can see my light. So there you go. That's how you go from crap to shiny. So I'm going to go ahead and work on this some more. And let's see if you can hear it. Yes, that was spit. Anyway, it's definitely a lot shinier than it was. So I'll go ahead and wrap this up for now. I think I'll go ahead and upload the video. And then maybe I'll just wait. I'll have it waxed. I don't know, maybe not. Well, I'll say goodbye now. If there's a segment after this, you know, I went ahead and decided to show you after waxing. But I may just let it rest overnight after this and wax it tomorrow. I need to find my applicator. Not that, although with the wax it doesn't really matter, but alright, I'm going to wrap this up. So if there's nothing after this, I'll see you on the final video, number 17.